What's up? I'm B and welcome to my channel. Today we are doing a bit of a follow-up from a video I did about 3 months ago about Josh from the Dad Challenge podcast. That video had the most mixed response out of pretty much any video I've ever done, and I kind of expected it to be that way. It was just really interesting to take a look at the comments and see kind of what some of the common themes were of the comments that I was getting. So, of course, it was mixed. There were a lot of people who were, I don't want to say on my side, but saw where I was coming from or agreed with some of my points or said, hey, I've been kind of feeling this way too. Thank you for talking about it. And then there were obviously people who did not like what I had to say. So kind of commonly what I saw in the comments were, he's really funny, get over yourself, or he's helping kids, get over it. Don't say he's doing this for money, because he's not doing it for money. He would never do this for money. He's doing it for a good cause, which we'll come back to. Fourth was, you're a hypocrite, talking about how he's talking about people in a way that you don't like, but you're talking about him negatively, so you're a hypocrite. And one person said they even felt dirty just being here, just watching my video. And probably the comment I saw the most often was some kind of iteration of, I found Josh when he started doing videos on Micah and James Stoffer. I really liked him. I thought he was incredible. I was subscribed to him. I was a member. I donated money, XYZ. And then as time went on, I noticed this, that, or the other. And now I've decided to stop watching him. So, a mixed bag. As expected, no big deal. But there were a few specific things that I wanted to address. Specifically the money thing. People came at me very hard for saying that he got caught up in how much money he was making. Specifically when I called him opportunistic for starting to cover true crime, or as he calls it, real crime, on his channel during the height of the Gabby Petito case. And I stand by that. I do think it was opportunistic, and I do think that he does a lot of what he does because he's financially compensated quite well for it. The amount of people saying that it's ridiculous, I would say he does this for money, was kind of shocking to me, because why else would he pump out the amount of content that he does if not for some kind of motivation like money or growth and the money that can bring you? Not every video on his channel is this groundbreaking expose of terrible things that are happening to kids. It's just not. Some of his videos are important. Some of his videos do talk about real serious topics, but there have been a lot of you, even in my comment sections, who have said most of these videos are just making fun of these moms. And okay, you want to take the approach of, you're exploiting your kids, so I'm going to make fun of you. I get to do that because I don't like what you're doing. And I'm not supporting exploiting your kids in any way, shape, or form. I completely disagree with family vlogging. I don't like it. I think it's weird, and it puts this gross kind of tension on your family. So I'm not trying to support or take up for family vlogging in general. But back to the point, a lot of people who watch him regularly have even said, yeah, it's a lot. Sometimes it's just making fun of these moms, and I don't see how that helps kids. And I said this in my last video, I'll say it again. I don't understand how the logic of, I'm going to make fun of you until you do what I want, works. I don't understand that thought process. You know, trying to bring awareness to the issue of exploitation of kids. Amazing, totally valuable mission to have. But if I was making $1 million a year, you could not call me ugly enough to get me to stop doing whatever I was doing. You couldn't make fun of my tan, you couldn't make fun of my thumbs, you couldn't make fun of my shoes enough to get me to stop doing whatever I was doing that was earning me $1 million a year. You just couldn't. So, okay, sure, some of these more petty videos are just to bring traffic to his channel, to get him to grow, to get him to be this like big source and this reputable person in the community, so that way more people know about him and then more people can hear the serious nature of his message. I can maybe see that argument. I can see where that's a little bit valid, but at the same time, sometimes you have to ask yourself, is this doing more harm than good? Is this causing more toxicity than it is actually contributing to solving a serious problem? And that's just something to evaluate. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and those petty videos that help grow his channel are driving more traffic to awareness, and it's doing more harm than good, or doing more good than harm. Maybe I'm completely wrong and that is the case, and if so, amazing. But from where I can stand, I don't see a lot of people talking about how much good Josh has done for kids. And there were actually a few specific comments that I wanted to read and respond to because I just thought they were interesting. So someone commented, "Oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one. I love CC Suarez and Jordan and McKay and respect their channels, so knowing they really like Josh, I wanted to like him too, but I just can't get behind him. I don't think he's a bad guy or even super disingenuous, but he's definitely starting to drink too much of his own Kool-Aid. The things he rags on these, yes, often crappy, vlogs for, used to be warranted, but how it's just petty, mean girl stuff. I'd much prefer he make fewer videos with higher quality snark / callouts. He's doing a disservice to his name. Also, I get everyone grabbing onto the Petito story, and he even says he's not a true crime channel a few times. But his excessive lives about the case are extremely cringe. Jordan and McKay went over the story, but I appreciated their perspective as Jordan has a personal tragic experience with a close friend being missing and murdered, and they are from / have knowledge of that area. And even after their last video, they said they wouldn't be doing any more videos until Brian was found. They kept it tasteful and informative. Long post, but in the end, he just kind of gives me weird Alex Jones vibes that just turn me off. He has a place online, and I think he can be really beneficial to the community, but I hope he starts to check himself a little. I do think he means well. This is the kind of fair and balanced criticism that should cause somebody to stop and think. And I got a lot of comments like this where it's like, I want to like Josh, or I think he has a good message, but the way he's going about it just isn't working. It's turning me off to his channel as a whole. That is a common theme that I saw in my comment section. And so hearing stuff like that should make you think. It should make you pause and say, hey, this person's not attacking me. They're not calling me out. Like, they're not calling me out of my name. They're not saying I'm trash. They're giving me a fair criticism, and I should probably listen, because I've seen people say that Josh can't take criticism. I got a lot of comments of people saying that he deleted their comments. People even like posted in my comment section, this is what I said, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but they've posted it and said, this is all I said and I got blocked, or I got deleted, or my comment got deleted, or I got a bunch of hate. And that's just reasonable stuff. And Josh likes to say that he can take criticism and he's changed things based on feedback he's gotten. But from what I can see, that only happens when he has very specifically done something wrong. It's like if he can't talk his way out of it, or he can't make an excuse for it, then he makes a change. General things about like, I don't like the way you talk about moms on your channel is not going to get to him from what we've seen, and he can just kind of ignore it or walk away from it. But there was a specific instance recently that happened that Josh could not explain away. He couldn't walk away from it. It wasn't general enough that he could just brush it under the rug. About 2 weeks ago, one of you commented, major update, Josh just doxed bits of Bree / Brianna K. He showed her home address and neighborhood in a Snarkmas video titled Snarkmas Day 18, looking at bits of Bree before she changed 12 days of Snarkmas song Vlogmas. He later blurred out that part of the video because people rightfully told him that it's super effed up to dox someone's home address. Please, Behaney, if you're up to it, can you do a video about this? It's insane to me that he hasn't been taken to task for such a serious thing. For someone who is so concerned about the safety of children, he literally just doxed a family's home. And I saw that and I was like, oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, so like I need to look at this. I need to check this out and see what's going on. And sure enough, I didn't even have to watch that video. I just scrolled through the comments section and somebody commented, no issues with this channel or the content. I watch frequently, but please don't share the location of anyone's home, no matter how annoying they are. It crosses a line and you'd feel horrible and may even hold some legal responsibility if this video helps a crazy person hurt someone in this family. Josh responded and said, I have since blurred it. I actually didn't realize the street name was on the street. I am okay with showing the island and stuff since she tells the world where she lives anyway. So Josh literally admits to it. That's literally something you can't get out of. That's not something that's opinion based. That is a fact. You showed identifying information about where somebody lives. And that video is still up. Yeah, it's been modified to take out that identifying information, but it was still up. You still put that out. How? How do you think that that's okay? To me, that would be a wake-up call. That would be, hey, you've gotten so wrapped up in this mission against Bits of Brie that you literally could be putting the lives of her family in danger. Maybe it's time to take a step back. I have 2 more comments that I want to read. First one. So before you carry on ripping him to bits, take a good long look in the mirror and ask yourself, when was the last time you fought for something you believe in, even though it means people backstabbing you, putting you down, calling you names that are disgusting, and threatens your family? I feel dirty just being here. Hypocrites, anyone. And that person is obviously entitled to their opinion, but this indicates that this is a person who has watched this singular video on my channel, knows nothing about me, knows nothing about my character, my life, the things that I do off of YouTube, and just made a judgment without knowing those things. And because they didn't take the time to hear what kind of person I am or where I'm coming from, they've completely blocked out my message. The message of that video being, I want Josh to succeed and do well in his mission of helping kids. I want people to hear him. I want people to hear the mission, and I think his approach has just fallen off a little bit. And honestly, this comment made me laugh because, take a good look in the mirror and ask yourself, when was the last time you fought for something that you believe in? If this person was a regular viewer of my channel, they would know that pretty much all of 2021, I was a kinship foster parent. And even that in and of itself is fighting for something I believe in, which is the safety of children. It was like a year-long process to get those kids in our home, despite the fact that one of their parents asked us to take them, and they wanted us to take them. Nobody was fighting bringing those kids into our home. It literally just took not a year, but from March of 2020 to January of 2021 to get them in our home, just from a paperwork standpoint, because they were in a different state. So that was me fighting for something I believe in. Like it's like Josh doesn't have a monopoly on somebody who claims to be fighting for something they believe in. Josh isn't the only one who can do good on YouTube. There are other people out there that are decent human beings trying to make a change for the positive in the world, and they may disagree with Josh. That's a complete possibility. And finally, the last comment that I'm going to read. I don't think you really did your research before making this video and some of the accusations you're making against Josh. One thing that really struck me is that you're saying he's capitalizing on the Gabby case and he's just trying to make a buck off her name. He's actually expressed in one of the videos that he's taking money from the Gabby videos and isn't pocketing it, but he's putting it towards something else, but he didn't want to say what exactly. I'm 1000% sure he's putting it towards her foundation, but doesn't feel the need to share that, because usually when people do things out of the kindness of their heart, they don't feel the need to gloat about it or try and get the attention from saying, hey, look at this great thing I'm doing. I also think you're being pretty hypocritical even making this video about him trying to gain attention from his name. Somebody else responded saying, he stated, I think, once about the funds and she's not being hypocritical. One could say the same thing about Josh. Isn't he capitalizing on big YouTubers? And then another person said, Josh is the one who's a hypocrite. He criticizes family vloggers making money out of their kids, but he is doing the exact same thing. He's making money out of those kids too. So a few things to kind of go over in that comment. I do think he was capitalizing off the Gabby Petito case. I do. And nothing that anybody says is going to change my mind on that. It is a weird time for him to start getting into true crime content when there's this big case that everybody's talking about that he can make multiple videos on and get lots of views from. And hey, we all capitalize on certain things. I make multiple videos about Girl Defined because those videos do well. People like them. People engage with them. I would say I am capitalizing off of Girl Defined's content because it does well on my channel. So in and of itself, people capitalizing on things isn't always a sinister thing, but I do think it's very opportunistic and kind of gross to take the murder of a young girl and the tragic situation surrounding it and make that a time when you suddenly switch to true crime. It's just odd to me. It rubs me the wrong way. Next, like I said, I got a lot of comments about people saying that Josh doesn't care about money. He's not in it for the money. He has a full-time job. Why would you say he's in it for the money? And this person saying he didn't tell us what he was putting the money he made from his Gabby Petito videos towards, but I'm 1000% sure he's putting it towards her foundation. Why? Why are you 1000% sure that that's what he's putting it towards? Because you think that that's ideally what he should put it towards? It would be really, really great if that's what he did, but we just don't know if he did that. How can you be 1000% sure that that's what he's doing if he didn't say he was doing that? You are believing the best in Josh, and believing the best in people is great, but to come on here and say I'm 1000% sure that that's what he's doing to defend somebody so hard without having actual facts as to what he did with that money, it seems like maybe you're blindly following somebody without doing a ton of critical thinking. And I don't say that to be a jerk or to be rude, but when we like somebody, we tend to believe the best of them. We tend to think the best about them, and we attribute amazing things to them, which is a very beautiful human trait, but it can also lead to ignoring red flags or attributing positive things to somebody that they haven't actually done. And this is the last thing that I will say about money. I don't think that money is a bad thing and that wanting to make money is evil. I think you can go about gaining money in an unethical way, and that's not okay, but wanting money in and of itself isn't a bad thing. So it was really interesting to me when I made the point about like Josh pumps out content to make money, and the kind of content he pumps out lessens the impact of his mission. That seems like a very reasonable statement, but it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And this is the description box of Josh's latest video, and the very first link is buy me a coffee to support this channel. Going down, you can join the Facebook group, you can join the channel to get access to perks, so that's a paid membership. Join our Patreon for exclusive content and early videos. That is a monthly payment, a monthly membership. Get some merch, you make profit off of merch. And then obviously he has his P.O. box where you can send him stuff, I'm assuming. Send him gifts, send him letters, artwork, I don't know. And then his other social media links. But this top one, so this looks very typical to me, but there are at least 4 ways in this description box to support him financially. And the whole buy me a coffee to support this channel one, that's the one that is the most interesting to me. This is called the Anti-Family Vlogger Fund, and the description is, hey all, it's Josh from the Dad Challenge podcast. This fund is to help support the quest to take down family vloggers. In its infancy, it will be used to source analytics from social sites that we have to pay to activate. In its depth, I'd love for it to be a place to lobby politicians and tech companies to pressure YouTube to demonetize all content with minors. So, this is what it's for. It is going to be used for good things, right? Okay, so we have a gallery. There's one picture from a year ago. We have posts. I'm like, sweet, we're going to get posts. This is going to update us on everything that's happening. Like, this is going to tell us where this money is going. 2 posts. First one is the ring that was pictured in the gallery. And then we have one more post from a year ago that says, thank you so much for helping me hit this goal. I've spent $650 so far on analytics, and I think I have a lot of data. I will continue to download more as I go. From a year ago. So you're still collecting donations, but the last time you officially updated people on what was being done with that money was a year ago. And you can see on that About section that people have been donating recently. 1 day ago, 1 day ago, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 5 days ago, 8 days ago. Josh is continually pulling in donations from this link And maybe he's put it in a video, but gosh, he puts out so much content that unless you're watching him every day, you've probably missed the update on what's happening. And another interesting thing is the minimum balance that you can donate is $5. You see, we have the $5, we have the donate button in red, it's gonna let us do it. If we said, you know what, I don't have $5 to donate, but I wanna donate to the cause, here's $1. You can't do it. You've gotta donate a minimum, $1.95 of $5. So just something to note, it is very possible that he is just socking that money away and waiting for a day when he needs it for something like buying additional analytics or contributing to a political campaign. That could totally be what is happening. But at this point, with how big Josh's channel has gotten, how often he's putting out that content, it just seems very interesting to me that that is the very first link, and we don't really know what's being done with that money. When Josh's channel first started and he wasn't as big as he was now, I think crowdsourcing the funds to access specific analytics or access certain pieces of technology that will help you get your message out, that's a great idea. That's totally valid. Like, that's a great idea. That's a way to do what you want to do and ask for help and get it done. You know, you do what you got to do to get the things you need to achieve your mission. I don't have a problem with saying, hey, can we all chip in a few bucks so I can get this thing and we can talk about it, or we can use it to expose the truth. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But with how big Josh's channel has gotten, how much money he's making from his videos, the fact that he apparently has a separate full-time job, I feel like the need for this specific donation should become less and less and less, because you're profiting from these videos. You're the one making a profit from the video that you put out on YouTube. And so at some point, it's probably best to rely less on your subscribers to fund the things that you need to do your job, and take the profit that you're making from your videos to put back into your channel and continue to do your job. Now, moving on to kind of the reason that I've decided to make this follow-up video now, and that is because recently Radiant Brit came out and basically said, I've seen this thing in Josh, I've seen this change in his attitude and his approach that I don't like, and because I have previously publicly supported him on my channel, I'm just coming here to say I've noticed these things, I don't like them, and I'm no longer supporting the way he's approaching his content. In a nutshell, that's what it was. And Brit and Josh previously have been casual acquaintances, I would say. You know, according to her, they've DM'd back and forth. She has publicly supported him and promoted his content, and they knew who each other were. And Josh was very unhappy with the fact that she made a video about him, and he DM'd her about it and was real upset that she chose to express her change in opinion publicly as opposed to coming to him privately. Now, on the one hand, I can understand saying like, hey, we've talked before, like, you know that I read your DMs. If you had an issue with something, why wouldn't you come to me privately about it? I can understand seeing that situation from Josh's side and being like, yo, what's up? You didn't talk to me about this. Why wouldn't you come to me if you had a problem? But at the same time, Brit did previously express some of her opinion about the way that the Gabby Petito case was being handled privately. And, you know, not that Josh has to change anything based on her opinion, but it just seemed kind of like it went one ear and out the other with him. And so from Brit's perspective, I can see where it's like, well, I already tried to give some gentle feedback in a constructive and reasonable way, and nothing really happened from it. Additionally, if I'm a public figure who has publicly stated that I support somebody and now I don't feel that way anymore and they're a public figure, I also need to publicly announce to my audience this change in my opinion because I now believe somebody that I previously supported is causing harm. That's just part of being a responsible content creator. If you have put somebody who you believe is causing harm out to your audience as somebody that you like and that you support and that they should go follow as well, and now your opinion has changed, you owe it to your audience to say, hey, I know I previously said that I like this person. My opinion has changed. Here's why. She didn't come on and attack him. She didn't come on and say he's the worst person in the world. He's just like, she wasn't name calling. She simply shared her opinion. And the way that Josh reacted, the things that he said seemed very odd. I can understand being upset that somebody who once supported you is now calling you out publicly. I'm sure that doesn't feel good. But he came into her DMs like fired up. He was ready for a fight. So Brit made a follow-up video after her initial one, and she shared the DMs between her and Josh, and obviously you can go watch that video if you want to get the full context. But something that was really interesting is that he called her a hypocrite in the DMs, which is something that we saw commonly in the comment section of my video about him. And he told her not to where she eats, and then said, even your cute dog knows that. And I don't know what that is supposed to imply, what that's supposed to mean. I mean, obviously I know the phrase and I've heard it before, but what is he implying that he will do to her now that she's crossed him? It's like if somebody's doing you a favor and you decide to get pissed off at them for no reason, somebody might tell you, hey, don't shit where you eat, like they're doing something for you. Why are you trying to attack them? Like that's something where that phrase applies. I don't understand what Josh is implying he's done for her. I don't know, but it just felt really weird. And he sent a lot of messages. They were very long. It was just really interesting to hear how he responded to that. Because if somebody publicly supported me and we talked privately and then they made a video denouncing me, I would probably be really confused. And here's the difference. If they came on and just like slandered me and made up ridiculous lies and said crazy stuff, I would probably be angry and upset. But the way that Brit approached her videos, the way that she approaches the majority of her videos, which is just like talking in an even tone and expressing her opinion in a reasonable fashion. So if I saw a video like that made about me and I'd talked to this person privately before, I would probably DM them and say, hey, I saw this video that you made about me. I'm just kind of confused where this is coming from. You've never spoken to me about it privately, so I'm just kind of unsure what's going on. Can we talk? And I would try to understand where they were coming from. I wouldn't try to attack them in their DMs. And there's been some talk about the word attack, of if that's too harsh, if, that's being overdramatic, but you come in guns a-blazing to somebody's DMs, I don't see an issue with describing it as, oh, like they tried to attack me. Because obviously she's saying verbally, not physically. So in any case, I think it's really good that Brit kind of took accountability for promoting somebody on her platform that she now believes is causing harm, and has retracted that support. I think that that's a good thing to do. That's a great way to honor your subscribers, to be honest, when you mess up. And not that she like did anything inherently bad, but promoting somebody who is causing harm is not a great thing. And it sounds like a very simple thing to do, to say, hey, I had this opinion and now it's changed. But I do think that in today's society, there's a lot of like shame or resistance towards sharing that you may not have been 100% right 100% of the time and 100% of the things that you think, say, and do. For some reason, we're like allergic to accountability. So I think it's good that Brit is changing her mind and speaking out publicly about it. The last thing that we are going to talk about, and we are not going to spend a lot of time on this because we don't need to. Josh put a video out on New Year's Eve talking about how he got catfished by a subscriber. The subscriber was donating a lot of money to him, contacted him privately, said that she was terminally ill, and just kind of wanted to talk to him in her last days. And so Josh said, like, hey, if somebody tells me that they're sick and they want to talk to me, like, I'm going to talk to them, which that's why I don't think Josh is like inherently evil. I don't think Josh is the worst person in the world. I just have an issue with the way he approaches things and handles himself sometimes. I think underneath all of that, there is somebody who has a heart for people. So anyway, they become closer friends. They're like doing Instagram video chats, all that stuff. Eventually, this subscriber passes away. Husband comes in, like, starts messaging Josh from the wife's account and says, yes, Joannas passed. Like, blah, blah, blah. I guess Joanna, the subscriber, had asked that Josh become friends with her husband after she passes away because they have a lot in common. She thinks they'll get along and he'll need somebody to support him. Josh says yes, so they start going back and forth, and then turns out there's all these other YouTubers that Joanna was close with, and you know, they're all in this group chat now, and they're getting to know each other, and they're reminiscing, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And here's the kicker. Here's the part where I almost lost my cool in watching this video. So, long story short, this was a catfish. Joanna's a real person. She's married. Like, that she's a real human being, but she's not dying from cancer. She lied. She lied about it. She didn't tell her husband that she was doing any of this. She catfished Josh and all these other YouTubers. For what? We don't know, because she was apparently donating lots of money to Josh, so we can only assume that she was donating to these other YouTubers as well. Josh said he did send her a lot of merch, so it probably was a wash in that, but he wasn't quite sure what the thought, like, what's the motive? I don't know. Anyway, Joanna's husband in this story is a police officer in Australia where the Cleo Smith case was happening, and he apparently came into Joanna, as her husband, came into Josh's DMs and said, "Hey, I've got an inside scoop on the Cleo Smith case. You want it?" And this is where a responsible true crime content creator would say, is this public knowledge? Are you cleared to share this? Like, is this going to be coming out soon? You vet this information, because guess what? If this is something that hasn't been publicly announced and like isn't about to be publicly announced, you say, no, thank you. I don't want to compromise an investigation into the disappearance of a little girl. I don't want to interfere with the police investigation. I don't want to share any information that I shouldn't, that could cause harm. I'm not interested. Please don't tell me. Or if you're a curious cat, you say, yeah, sure, tell me. I'm not going to make a video about it, but I'd love to know the inside scoop from somebody who's actually working in the case. Because what if this officer was just sharing crap he shouldn't have been sharing? What if this was highly classified information that people were keeping quiet for a reason? They didn't want to tip somebody off before they had the appropriate warrants to go arrest them. They didn't want to tip anybody's hand. They needed to observe them a little bit more. But now that this theory, this inside scoop is out, oh, they hear this and they say, somebody's sharing this information, they're on to me, and they book it. They run. You could literally compromise and irreversibly damage the investigation into a missing child because you want to have the scoop. I have no words. I have nothing. I have no words. I have no words for this. To Josh's credit, apparently he did ask, like, this is going to be shared publicly, right? And the husband said yes. So Josh, you know, at least he asked. If it were me, and I wanted to know that information, make a video about it, I would probably make the video and then wait until the second I heard it was announced publicly, confirm that that's what was told to me, then I'd put my video up. I'd get the video ready, you know, you want to have the edge on the competition, you want to be the first one talking about this information, great. As long as it's being publicly shared by a verified news source and the police is sharing this information, yeah, you've got that video ready to go, it's uploaded, it's just unlisted, it's on private, shared publicly, boom, here's my video. But that's not what Josh did. Josh took the information and he shared it publicly, and it was to like mixed responses, because people were like, we've never heard this before, who's your source, what's going on, like why are you the only person sharing this theory? And as you can probably guess, that piece of information, that theory, I don't know what it was, because I don't watch Josh's videos and it's now been taken down, thankfully. But this theory or this piece of information was never corroborated by anybody else. Never came out in any other articles, any other news shows, any other news sites, press conferences. Never shared this piece of information because it was freaking fake. It wasn't real information. And so, yes, Josh took that down. Thank goodness. But this is why I have qualms about him doing true crime content. And so that's why I think it's really, really important, if you are somebody who likes true crime content, because I do like true crime content, and you are watching content creators who talk about current cases, you need to be very careful who you watch. You need to make sure that you are watching somebody with integrity. And I've gone through like phases with Kendall Rae. There was a while there where I felt like, you know, she would make a video about something, and around the same time, or, you know, a few months before, a few months after, Stephanie Harlow would make a video about something, and Stephanie's videos are so detailed, so in-depth, like so much info in there. And you compare that to Kendall's and it's like, oh, okay, you know, this feels kind of like half-hearted. I don't know if you're really doing as much research as you should be. You know, you have a lot more subscribers than her. I'm feeling kind of iffy. But something I respect so much about the content that Kendall Rae puts out is when she works with families. The care that she puts into those videos, into hearing them, into platforming them so they can tell the story of their missing or murdered loved one. That is something that I respect the heck out of Kendall Rae for. This is why I'm so skeptical of people who do current true crime cases, because you just never know. Like, are they being ethical about how they're getting their information? Are they being just wild with letting theories run rampant in the comments? Are they keeping things in check? Are they keeping things in control and approaching this from a place of integrity? Because you really need to, because people love to get wrapped up in things that are going on and they're scandalous and they're crazy or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, we all have to remember that we are spectators on something that is happening very much in reality. Something that is really affecting somebody else's life. But with the Gabby Petito case, it's like this whirlwind of media, and everybody's getting in on it, everybody's talking about it, everybody's making content about it, and I think it dehumanizes Gabby. It takes away from the fact that this is a real person who was murdered. This person had a family, this person had loved ones, this person had dreams and hopes of their own. And people are just getting swept up in the ridiculousness of the story and all the gross details and overanalyzing everything and running off with theories and saying disgusting things about Gabby and how she is the aggressor. Like, just these wild, wild theories without remembering that the things that you say about these cases impact real people's lives. They do. And so if you're going to make true crime content, that is a big responsibility and one that you should not take lightly. And I hope to God that Josh has learned from this. I hope to God that he will never make a mistake like that again. And he takes this as a second to be like, oh, I really got caught up in this. I need to make sure I'm more vigilant in the future. And overall, there's no excuse for what he did. But something that I noticed when I was watching Josh's video about this, it was like an hour long. I'm sitting there watching this and hearing, you know, what led up to the relationship with Joanna's husband and how they became friends. And, you know, he thought he could trust this person. So, you know, we all have those moments where we don't exercise the best judgment, you know, some of them with less impact than others. Some instances where we have bad judgment are less serious than others. Regardless, though, hearing him describe how this relationship formed and other relationships that he's had with people, and how he would approach it of like, if somebody tells me they're sick, I'm going to be there. I'm going to give them my time. And hearing about how this, you know, this husband, her husband, they became friends, and husband said that they were going to come to Canada. And Josh is like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go. I'll pick you up. We'll get an Airbnb. I got coats. I got cocoa. I got snowshoes. I got gloves. Like, let's do this thing. Hearing that part of his heart, I see why people like him. I totally see it. Him, the way that he was speaking in that instance reminds me so much of somebody in my personal life who also just has this huge heart and like would be there in a second for anybody. For somebody that they've never even met in person, would be like, oh, you need something? Let's do it. Like, let's go. I've got you. You want to come over? You want to spend the night? You need me to drive you somewhere? Like, that's how that person is. And it very much reminded me of how Josh was presenting himself in that video. And so all that's to say despite the mistakes, despite the kind of cult following he has and the cult mentality that he is breeding in his comment section by either deleting people who disagree with him, blocking them, or attacking them, despite all of these shortcomings, I think he has a good heart. I can see it. It's like, it's right there. I can see it peeking through all the BS. Let's get to that. Let's get to the good heart and get back to the good message and the good mission and just get back on track. And I hope that he does that. I hope that somebody can speak to him in a way that he will listen to, because there's been a lot of mistakes that he's made, in my opinion. There's been a lot of negative things that he has said and done that are not okay and that kind of should be atoned for. And I've seen a lot of people say that he's a narcissist, and you know, I'm not going to diagnose anybody, but that he's exhibiting narcissistic traits and behavior, and he's never going to change, he's never going to listen. Like, you know, I don't think him being, other people have said, I don't think him being a worship pastor was ever about glorifying God or loving, you know, bringing people closer to God through worship. I think it was about all eyes being on him. And that's what he's doing now. There's just a lot of comments like that he'll never change because he has narcissistic tendencies and he thinks he can't do any wrong, he can't take criticism, XYZ. We've gone over all of this, but I just hope that somebody can speak to him in a way that he will hear and he can get back to the important stuff. You grew, amazing, you did it. You got lots of subscribers. He likes to talk about how he's the biggest person in the community who does this, and that's why he has so many detractors and haters. And statistically, yeah, the more people who know about you, the more people are probably not going to like you, you know? That's just kind of how numbers work. That's Josh's attitude, though, is people are against him because he's so big and they just want to join the hater squad. They want to be detractors. I don't get the use of that word. That makes it sound very serious. And denotatively, I know that a detractor is just somebody who like disparages someone or something else, so it's not like that serious. But connotatively, saying detractor for some reason to me sounds real serious. But that's beside the point. I have been talking for way too long about this topic. I am done. Like I said, I hope Josh can have a wake-up call, have a come-to-Jesus moment of maybe I've fallen off the wagon a little bit, maybe I've gotten a little bit off track. I've got all these subscribers now. Let's use this platform for good. Let's use this audience for good. Let's get back on track to the mission of helping kids, because at the end of the day, that's what's important, and that's what he claims to care about and to want to do. So I'd love to see him do it. So now that I am done running my trap, feel free to leave your comments down below on what you thought about this video. If you agree, if you disagree, tell me what you liked and what you disliked. And while you're doing that, if you'd consider liking this video or subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible. And if you're subscribed already, thank you so much. I am so appreciative of you, and I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. As a reminder, I do now have merch. I'm wearing some right now. This is from the Mars collection. It says, "You are not cute and he is not pleased," in honor of Mark Driscoll's infamous rant. But when you get closer, the "not" in both of those lines is crossed out, so it reads, "You are cute and he is pleased." And the link for that will be down below, as well as links related to the disappearance and search for Daniel Robinson. It would mean a lot to me if you would check out those and you would sign the petition to change his investigation from a missing persons investigation to a criminal investigation. With all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.